Let's now see how to open files in C. For that, we use the system call open, which can take 2 or 3 parameters depending on usage. The first parameter is the file to open. The path can be relative or absolute. The second is the opening mode, read-only, write-only, or both, and the permissions in case of new file creation. Open will either return an int corresponding to the open file descriptor or -1 in case of an error. Before showing you with code how to open a file, let me first talk about flags. As I've mentioned, we have 3 flags that allow us to control the level of access to the file. O_RD only, O_R only, and O_RDWR. We've also got flags that allow us to modify open's behavior, such as O_create, which allows us to create a file if it doesn't exist yet. Flags can be combined with a binary OR, and there are many others to use. Check out the man. Let's now move on to code. In this very simple example, I've included the headers required by open. I've declared an int called fd to which I've assigned open's return of a file alf that contains a few letters and in read-only mode. Then I get fd to be displayed just to check I got a valid file descriptor. Let's compile this example. 3 is being displayed. Let's reopen the code. So, open has indeed returned 3 and I've displayed it. The file is opened and I can manipulate it by using the file descriptor 3. Now, let's see how to open a file in write mode. Let's get a file 42 created in write mode only and get it to be created if it doesn't exist. And to give me write and read permissions. And to display the file descriptor. Compiling. 3 is displayed, so my file has indeed been opened. The file 42 has indeed been created, and I have read and write permissions on it. Before moving on to the rest, let me show you how important open's return is. Always check this. Let me remind you that open returns -1 in case of an error. Manipulate a file descriptor that's equal to -1. So let's check that fd is not equal to -1. I'll leave the put NBR so we can see that the fd is equal to -1 and ask it to open the file in a directory to which I don't have access, /dev. Recompiling, launching, we can see that my fd is equal to -1, that my open hasn't worked, and so I cannot manipulate my file. Now, let me show you how to close a file. For that, we have the system called close. This only takes a file descriptor as a parameter and returns 0 normally or -1 in case of an error. Reopening my code, putting back the 42 file. I'll leave here in case of error. And then I'll close my file at the end of my code. Recompiling. 3. My file's been opened and closed in a transparent manner. This concludes this video on file opening and closing. See you in the next video where we'll see how to read from a file.